Hi, beauties. It was so good to see so many of you on Saturday for the Demystifying Labor Positions workshop. It was wonderful. I know it was a lot of information, but you all did fabulous. It was so nice to be in that space with you, and I hope you got a lot out of it. And know that ask me questions anytime. Just come right to me, text me, shoot me an email. I would love to help answer your questions. And as a kind of extension of that workshop, today we're going to focus on a flow that specifically focuses on labor positions. So we're going to move through a flow that you can do while you're in labor if you wanted to, but it will be a great flow, honestly, to practice every day, every couple days leading up to birth. What it'll do is it'll help instill those postures, those movements in your body so that when it comes time to be in labor, you just can tap right back into your muscle memory and your inner knowledge of what your body is capable of. And you'll know based on what you're feeling, what postures to utilize. So for example, sometimes we might feel really tight and tense and a lot of pressure on the left side of our pelvis. And we might want to do a very specific position or movement to alleviate that intensity or to move through that intensity during labor. So if you have these positions really well known in your body, you'll be able to automatically know what position your body needs to navigate that particular sensation that you're having during labor. And so really the goal is to get really used to these postures, these movements, so that you can just drop right into the ones that your body is asking for in labor. You don't have to think too hard. All right, so we're going to get started seated on our mats. So you can sit on some pillows, you can sit on some blankets, but make sure that your hips are just a little bit more elevated than your legs so that you have some space in your belly and in the front of your pelvis for your baby to relax, stay open, and all that good stuff. All right, I'm just going to put my hair up. I'm going to go ahead and settle over there. I'm so happy like clips are back. It's been so fun. All right, come on over, sitting on your mat. Oh, my head's cut off. Should be good. Perfect. So sitting on your mat, or whatever space you've designated for yoga this morning or this afternoon or whenever you're watching the recording. And take a couple moments to let your body start to settle into the space that it's in. Sigh, swallow, yawn, adjust your clothes. Softening the corners of your eyes, your forehead, your cheekbones, your jaw. And just let everything kind of soften into gravity. If you find yourself kind of leaning forward or your belly really pulling forward, go ahead and see what it would feel like to drop back down in your sits bones and let your back just kind of lean back slightly as if you're trying to touch your shoulder blades to the wall. Allow your body to organize itself in a way that feels strong, supple, and comfortable. So if there's anywhere that's working too hard or has unnecessary tension, allow yourself to soften just slightly. Taking a sigh if you want to take it. And wherever you're sitting, if you want to stay up on a bolster or blankets or pillows, go ahead and do that. But go ahead and extend one leg out. I'm starting with my left. Why don't you go ahead and start with your right? So right leg extended. Taking a big breath in. As you exhale, gently fall forward just inside of your right leg. You can let your hands and your arm bones hold you up. Maybe take a couple rolls with your shoulders. Head and neck. Taking a big breath in, a big breath out. Start to walk your hands over to your right leg. Your right hand connects to your right shin or closer up by your thigh, whatever feels better for you. Your left arm's going to reach forward. You're going to make a big circle. Feel a stretch through the left side of your body, through your belly as you open up your arm. And then exhale, you're going to make that big windmill and turn your chest and belly down towards your right leg. Breath in, big reach up and open. And exhale, coming down. So we're working on positions right now that open up the top of the pelvis. But we're adding these arm movements and this nice twist because this is also a yoga class. And it feels good to move like this. Good. And the next time you lift up, go ahead and ground your left hand to the floor behind your left hip. And reach your right arm up. Open the chest a little bit, soften your belly, let your head fall back so that your throat is wide. And then gently coming up, you'll switch legs. Your left leg extends, your right leg draws in. Take a big breath in. Exhale, fall over the center. Let your head relax. Let your bones hold you up. And then slowly you're going to walk your left hand to your left leg. Extend your right arm forward like it's trying to touch your big toe. And reach your right arm up. Find the big circle. And let your eyes follow your hands. Your face moves in the same direction as your hand, so your neck gets some movement too. Gently feeling this movement create some space in your torso. Good. And the next time you reach up, we're going to find that twist. You're going to ground your right hand behind your right hip, left arm reaches up, bringing open your heart. You're taking a little twist and a little back bend. Let your head fall back. And slowly coming all the way up. We're going to find our way to hands and knees. So take your time getting there. If you need extra support under your knees because your knees are sensitive to hard floor like mine are, you can put a pillow or blanket under your knees. If your wrists are sensitive, you can either do a thumbs up and put your knuckles on the floor like this, or you can put a pillow underneath the heel of your hand, not your upper hand, but the heel. And that should give you a little bit of less pressure at the front of the wrist joint. Instead of like this, you'd be like this. Feels much better, I promise. All right, so hands and knees, just start to circle your pelvis around, imagining like you're making these big horizontal plane circles. So like you're circling your pubic bone, which is right here, like this, hovering over the floor. You can let your knees be nice and wide as you're doing this. And then you'll go the other direction. Let your belly be soft here, especially if it's your first baby. Let your belly be soft. If you've had many babies, you can work on keeping your belly a little bit firmer, a little bit stronger. Good, settling into the center. You're going to take a breath in, tilt your tailbone up like you're trying to show your bottom off to someone. And as you exhale, you're going to gently tuck in just a little bit. Breath in, widen, let everything soften, kind of shake your bottom at the top. And then exhale, coming in. 2 more, breathing in, wide the base of your pelvis. Exhale, draw it in. And then find your middle ground, and you'll rock your hips back. Make sure your knees are wide enough for your baby. And then exhale, come forward. Inhale, ride back. Exhale, draw forward. And let this be really slow and methodical. Go at the pace of your breath. You can let your toes touch. They can be a little bit apart, but what really matters is that your knees are nice and far. You're creating space at the top of the pelvis, letting your belly be soft. And as you're ready, you're going to come back up onto hands and knees. We're going to do a heart opener. And this is a great position for early labor. This is puppy pose. You're bringing your chest down, your face down, and let your hips stay high. Notice that my hips are mostly above my knees. I'm not too far forward. I'm not too far back. Try to let your hips be right above your knees. The goal here is to soften your belly, to soften your chest into the earth, and to feel a lot of space develop in your pelvis. So when we're doing this position, you're bringing baby into a different part of the pelvis. So baby floats a little bit sometimes when there's a lot of amniotic fluid. And so this is a great position too if babies are malpositioned or in a non-ideal position. Maybe they're posterior, meaning the front of their belly is to your belly and their back is to your back. Doing a position like this can help them create a little bit more space, change how gravity is interacting with them, and change how their amniotic fluid is around them, and help them kind of move into a different position. It's also really important to keep your abdominals and your pelvic floor soft and supple when you're doing this. So let's take about 5 more breaths there. One more big breath in. A big breath out. And slowly you're going to come back up onto your hands. Tuck your toes and gently find your way to your downward facing dog. Let your feet be wide. Take up some space here. Bend one knee, straighten the other as you round your heel down. Kind of walking out your legs, feeling a nice calf and maybe hamstring stretch here. Soft belly, easeful breath. Beautiful. Find some stillness for one breath in, one breath out. And slowly walk your hands and feet towards each other. Finding a forward fold, let your feet be wide. I like to keep my feet about as wide as my mat. Maybe wider if I'm pregnant. Very wide if I'm pregnant with twins. Wow. You guys, my belly was so big. Twins are turning 1 in 2 days. I can barely believe it. All right, you're slowly going to come all the way up to standing. Take some pelvic circles, bring your hands to baby, soften your knees. Go the other direction. These circles are some of my favorite. They're good to do holding onto a wall. These circles, you can hold on to your partner. They're great because they're doing a lot of different things. It's softening the musculature of your pelvis. All those muscles are beginning to soften a little bit. It moves your pelvis in all different directions. So you're opening up all different parts of them depending on where you are in the circle. So here, you're opening up the front. Here, you're opening up the left side, back, right side. So you're really just doing so much with such a simple movement. When you feel ready, you're going to slowly come up to standing at the top of your mat. We're going to do some asymmetrical postures here. Again, we're going to use asymmetry to help change each side of the pelvis to help baby navigate the mid pelvis and the bony structures that are interrupting baby's progress down. Remember, we have the ischial spines in the mid pelvis that baby has to rotate around. Otherwise, they're going to get a little stuck in the mid pelvis. It's very common for babies to get a little stuck in the mid pelvis, especially for people who don't have access to movement. So go ahead and find your tall standing posture. Take a big breath in, reach up, open your heart. Exhale, bring your hands to touch, find your chair pose. You're going to slowly take your right foot back. We'll start with left leg forward this time. Right foot back, you can either take a warrior 1 with your heel down, or you can take a high lunge with your heel up. I'm going to come down to a warrior. You're going to let your left knee bend, and you're going to straighten it. Just finding a couple of these. What we're doing here is we're taking our pelvis in 2 different positions on either side to open up some space on one side, close off some space on the other. And we're using this bend of the knee to exaggerate that a little bit. This is great to do here. You can hold on to someone in front of you here, or in front of you over here, a wall, a bed. I even like holding my elbows on a bed and just going like this while laboring. You can let your hand rest on your thigh to support you. Then we'll add some arm movements. So breathing in as you straighten your leg, reach your right arm up. Exhale, bend your elbow as you bend your knee. Taking a couple more of these. If you want to release your left hand, let it kind of mirror the right. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. Good, this time come all the way up. We'll find a goddess pose. Bend your knees and your toes point outward about 45 degrees and just sway side to side a little bit. When you feel good and your hips feel mobile and open, we're going to take a twist of the shoulders. So dropping one shoulder, looking to one side, other shoulder. And rock side to side a couple times. Good. Slowly coming up, give your pelvis a little shake again. Beautiful. You're going to turn your right toes to the back of your mat, turn your left toes perpendicular so that you have a nice warrior two stance with your legs. And just like we did before, you can either come into a lunge if that feels better for you. It's much more challenging. So it's up to you. Doing a little rock front to back. And again, you can let your weight rest in your right arm as you do this. And we'll start to take some arm movements. Breathing in, left arm reaches up as you straighten your right leg. Exhale, cactus arm. Again, bringing both arms into it if you want to. It's totally up to you. Breathing in to create space. Exhaling to build that strength in the middle. Good. Couple more. Last one, breathe in and come all the way up. Turn your feet to be parallel. We're going to do, I don't know, it's like ski legs or something in like group fitness classes. But basically, you're just going to be taking a lunge. So you're going to let your chest come a little bit farther down. This is a great place to use the ball underneath your elbows or bring your elbows to a bed. If you want that extra challenge in your belly right now, you can bring your hands to your hips and use your core strength, but know that it's a little better to keep your belly soft, especially if it's your first baby. All right, so you're gonna bend one knee and let your weight shift to that side, and then spring up nice and slow, other side, and then come up. Do that a couple times. I'm gonna show you from this side so you can see how my body is moving. So I'm leaning forward, bending one knee. See how my hips are staying back? I'm not like this. My hips are back, so my knee is a little bit above my ankle. And I'm not bending my knee that much. Just enough. I have really long legs, so it looks like I'm going down for a while, but I'm not really bending my knee that much. I'm not going for a full right angle or anything like that. Try a few of these. Big breaths. Soft belly if you can. Coming to the middle. And from here, I'm just moving so I can face you guys again. You're going to turn your toes in and your heels out. So you're like pigeon-toed, right? So instead of like this. Soften your knees just a little bit, and you're going to allow yourself to come to a forward fold. Again, use a ball or a bed under your elbows if that feels better than coming all the way down. What you're doing here is you're opening up the base of the pelvis. When we bring our knees together, it encourages our sits bones, our ischial tuberosities, to spread apart, stretching the base of our pelvic floor musculature, okay? So it looks like this. Feel your bottom widen. Take a couple of big breaths, really soft belly, really soft bottom. One more breath in, a breath out. And one leg at a time, you're going to lower one knee and then the other, and come to sitting on your heels. Take a couple moments to connect back inward. I'm going to do a quick time check. Beautiful. So now we're going to work on a couple postures that you can use while pushing. These are so fun, in my opinion. You're going to gently come to a tabletop position. Let your feet widen a little bit, but your knees stay under your hips. So you're not bringing your knees to touch. They're under your hip joints individually. So there's about 6 inches, maybe more, between your knees, and your feet are a little bit wider. Soft belly. You can rock front to back. Keep your tailbone pointed up. Soft, soft belly, soft breath. One more breath in, breath out. You can step 1 foot forward and find that space here, leaning front to back. This is a great way to help baby be born too, coming into a running start lunge. Rocking out, stretching and releasing here, soft, soft belly. And switching legs. Soft belly is key, I promise. Helps your breath move through your body. It helps release your pelvic floor musculature. And it helps your baby find a really good position for them. It gives them some space to move. Good, one more. Slowly, we'll come to laying on our sides. Lay on whichever side feels good to you. We're going to practice another amazing labor position, or pushing position, I mean. So I like to take a pillow under my head so that my shoulder girdle has a really good place to rest and my arm can extend. From here, you're just going to lift up your top heel, keep your knees together. You should feel a little opening in the base of your pelvis. And slowly lower it down. And again, this is a yoga class, so we're not really going to use anything else. We're just going to be doing this movement, but in labor, you would put a ball or several pillows between your heels and just stay in that open ankle position. Right now, we're just working on those muscles on the outer hip that create this internal rotation. So like we talked about on Saturday, internal rotation is what we're doing at the end of labor, internal rotation of the femur. The femur is this long bone at the top. And this movement looks like it's originating here, but we know that the knee doesn't really move like this. The hip moves like this because it's a ball and socket joint, right? Not a hinge joint. The knee is a bit more complex than that, but we'll leave it there today. I'm not a knee expert. Good. You might start to feel a little burn, a little spice over here, and that's okay. If it hurts too much, you can always stop. Know that. Okay. Release your leg, let it fall down. Rub your outer hip, give it some love, take some breaths. We're going to go to the other side. I'm going to turn around away from you so you can really see what my hips are doing, what my pelvis is doing. So knees are together. My sits bone is right here. And so when I lift up, my sits bone moves. You see how much space that created? It was like 2 centimeters. Sits bone opens and closes. So we're really moving from the femur, from the pelvis, We're creating space on this side of the pelvic floor. Moves. And then lowers. You might notice this side feels different. For me, this side is weaker. So it tends to feel spicy sooner. Hi, Ryan. Taking a couple more breaths. Couple more lifts and lowers. Soft belly, soft breath. Give your outer hip a little love, a little massage. And very slowly press yourself up to a comfortable seat. We're going to close out class. If you want to lay down and take a rest after this, go ahead. Otherwise, just notice your breath. Notice your body, your baby. Soften your face for one more breath in. A big exhale. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for showing up. For moving your body, for loving on yourself. I'll see you soon.